Welcome to our executive interview series at AWS Innovate Day, presented by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and we're here with Shrikant Ektare, Senior Director, Cloud Solutions at Amtrak. Shrikant, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
So one of the questions I'd like to explore with you is, where are you seeing advances in tools and technologies having the greatest impact on improving mission-critical services at your organization?
So let me take your question in a reverse order. Mission critical services. So we at Amtrak run our customer facing, revenue generating, train operational, mission critical systems in cloud. I mean, example, when a train starts, it needs an information about the train consist, the locations, the speed. It cannot start unless it gets that live information. So we have that one example. When you ride Amtrak and the conductor scans your ticket, that's a mission critical live operation. It has a direct revenue impact. So there are operational, reservation based and financial systems. So we have been doing this for about 10 to 12 years now in cloud environment. Now answering your question now, how do we take care of that, right? So we operate in 3 regions, 2 in US East and 1 in US West. So running a software in 3 regions is relatively simpler. Making sure that your data is always close to real time in all 3 regions, that is the challenging part. And that is where you need understanding of the foundational services that you get. For example, you have global databases. It replicates across region. You also have multi-master replication cross regions. So these are very critical services for our mission critical applications. So what we do is, in those cases where we have C1 or C2 class applications, just like most of the companies call bronze and silver and gold and platinum class application, we at Amtrak call C1, C2, C3, C4 applications. So for such C1 applications, the downtime tolerance is 0. Data loss tolerance is 0. For C2 type application, it is like 1 hour. So what we do, we design the application that can honor this. That's not enough. Then you need to make sure that you test it periodically. Because like your CIO said once, everything that can fail will fail. It's AWS's own wordings, right? So we believe that. So we need to practice that. So we practice failover, failback for C1, C2 class applications. And people take immense pride in doing that. It's not easy. It's like complicated microservices, data replications. I think I gave you again a very long-worded answer to your simple question, but you can get into details too.
Next, I'd like to ask, how has Amtrak approached building a stronger data governance into its cloud strategy, and what's been the impact in terms of data storage, analysis, and utilization?
Like I was talking in the session with audience and people, there are two dimensions, 2 aspects to your question. The data governance, data classification has nothing to do with cloud. It is application owners, functional owners' understanding of their business and sensitivity of data to make a decision what should be the classification, which should be sensitive, which should be for public consumption, which data element should only be internal. So that thing starts at application owner level, unrelated to cloud. When those decisions are made about the sensitivity and classification of data, the technical team, cloud DBAs come into picture. So the second part is where I will elaborate a little more. to me, there are 5 dimensions to data, which I always like to use acronyms. So 3 V's is velocity of data, the volume of data, and the variety of data. Every organization has these 3 things: velocity, variety, and volume. When the governance becomes matured, you add 2 more dimensions to that: the security and the cost of doing the business. So take a look at the nature of the variety of data that we deal with. There is structured data. There is relationally structured data, which is typically accounting systems, most of the systems. There is unstructured data, videos, images, pictures, semi-structured data, XML files, JSON objects. There is streaming data. There is IoT data. Now let's not make a mistake. Just because a data is a picture or stream, it can be extremely sensitive for your business. So that is where you use the services for ingestion of that data. Which service you use? AWS Transfer Family do you use? You use managed Kafka services, you use APIs for event-based data. Those decisions are critical. They are extension of governance. Those decisions were made by business. So when you apply this, the ingestion, the encryptions, masking, security, that is where we come into picture. And even if you do all this, then let us look at the last 2 aspects, which is security and the cost. If you recently see the data breaches in industry, nobody tries to breach your code. Nobody cares about your SQL statement or Java code. They breach data. That is their target. So your security practices should be zero trust, very tightly controlled around data. And that is a separate long discussion on how do you do that. Security is one. And the cost of doing it. I mean, you can do everything with a couple of $1 million, that's not going to work. Do you consume as you go, or do you pay huge licenses upfront on core-based licensing, and when you use hardly 10% of that? The cost of doing that business, the licensing models. So these are all important. If I were to summarize, my answer to your question is this: data governance classification starts with the business owners, who are my internal customers. As a custodian, I apply these 3 V principles with security and cost. I hope I gave you a very long-worded answer to your 1-sentence question.
Appreciate the specificity of that. Well, Shrikant Ektare, thank you so much for joining us and here at AWS Innovate Day. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.